Fantastic. Oh, we've still got one or two people trickling in. Right now, we are letting in John B. Okay, well, you know what? It is 7:05, so why don't we get started? And I can always continue to admit people if they pop in or show up, just to be respectful of everyone's time. So welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining tonight. I was just saying a few moments ago, it's been a long time since I/we have hosted one of these pre-race Zoom calls. Anyone that has joined one of these calls in the past, last fall for any of the fall marathons, they're pretty informal. There's no set agenda. So we have, I think, at least one or two people on the call that have raced Berlin before. So they are our experts, which is great. I myself am racing Berlin in 2 weeks. It will be my first Berlin marathon. So I'm kind of sitting in the newbie chair, even though I'm helping to facilitate the conversation. So, feel free to just unmute yourself if you would like to ask a question. Like, you don't have to raise your hand. There's not that many of us on the call, so I don't think we're going to run into too many issues of, talking over one another. So yeah, if anyone just wants to jump right in and ask the first question. I think Vivian has raced Berlin before. Is there anyone else on the call that has raced Berlin in the past? Just Vivian. Okay. I knew she was going to be at least our one expert. I was hoping to have one or two other people, but
I'm a hot seat. Just me right now.
To get everyone, at a time that works, and it's only 1 or 2 weeks back to school, so I'm sure everyone's schedules are pretty hectic. So, but yes, thank you so much for joining us, Vivian.
Yeah, for sure. I guess maybe I'll just I guess I can just give a little preview. Yeah. So I ran
Berlin experience.
Yeah, for sure. So I ran Berlin in 2022, which was a year, I'll say a year that Kipchoge won it and set a record. I am sure it's not the only time he did, but I think it was, I think he had won it and set a record some years prior, but he did that year as well. So that was a really fun time. And just a tiny bit about me, I've been coaching with Team RunRun for 4 years, and I've run 4 of the majors. So I have a little bit of, I have some races to compare it to, and then I think I've run 9 marathons total, including a virtual. And Berlin was my 5th, I want to say. And I've run Chicago twice. And so I guess just some super quick overview. So all are signed up to run it this year, it looks like. Okay. And it's a couple of weeks from now. Yeah, so I guess I had a great time. I don't have any like red flags, like, nothing, you're not gonna like make any mistakes that are gonna hurt you at this race. It was really fun. The course is flat, it's fast, and it's a loop. So, it starts and ends right around the same place, which is convenient. It's really spectator friendly. So I have a bunch of friends that ran it, and then we had a bunch of spectators. And also the day prior to the marathon, there's a inline skate marathon, which is really cool. And you have the same expo. So there's a lot of fun, like inline skate stuff at the expo too, which you should check out. I think there's like a huge inflatable rollerblade that you can like take a picture on or something. And the reason why there's such a special place in my heart for the inline skate marathon is one of my really good friends who was registered to run it the year I was registered, she got injured and couldn't run it. And that was some months prior to the race, and she knew that it wasn't gonna heal in time. So she actually registered she was able to like flip her registration to the inline skate marathon. and she like got rollerblade lessons and did that, and then she like crushed it. And all that to say, so I spectated it, and I actually was able to, public transportation there is super easy. So I was able to go to a few different spots, and that's for the skate marathon, which they're moving really fast. So I think I was able to go to like two or three different spots. And so if you have spectators that want to go to different spots, I mean, for me, I don't always advise my spectators travel during the race because sometimes I just want them to stay in one spot so I know they're going to be there. But if you guys have people that are experienced spectators, or that are willing to do exactly what you tell them to do, um, public transportation is super easy. It's really fast. It doesn't, from my experience, I don't remember it like clogging up a lot. And from people I talked to who actually spectated the marathon itself, it didn't clog up a lot. So there's that. And then for the marathon experience itself, I mean, it's just great. It's awesome. I put this in my written tips, but the one thing you want to make sure you don't do is when you see the Brandenburg Gate, which is like the end of the race, once you like pass under that, you still have 400 meters, which is like it feels like a long 400 meters because you just ran 26 miles. So you still have 400 meters. And so I guess, depending on your athletic ability, what you don't want to do is start speeding up as soon as you see the gate, because when you see it, you still have to get to it. And then when you get to it and through it, you still have another 400 meters. So,
Time
um,
your kick appropriately is what I'm hearing.
yes, time your kick. And I think that the biggest thing is know that that gate is not the finish line. And I think some people go into the race thinking that that gate is the finish line. So just know that that's the case. And let's see what else. um, I think let's see what else. That's the main thing. The expo was a little bit like, I remember being really fun and spending a lot of time there. And I don't remember the details, but I do remember spending some time outside beforehand, like being in some sort of line. And then once I was inside, there were a couple different lines. And that's typical for majors. But I remember like it being pretty, you want to like plan to just like spend some time there. Um, I think if you ordered a finisher shirt in advance, there's like a separate line for that. Or queue, I guess is probably what they call it. Separate queue for that. And then there's probably a line to get your like bid number and stuff. And then the merch the year that I went, I mean, this is subjective, but it was really awesome. Like just really great merch. Adidas does it all. And I remember it it being really picked over, but like I was determined to get like the stuff I wanted in my size. So I spent a lot of time like digging through stuff. And they had a lot of really helpful staff people there, and they have dressing rooms, but it's still like, it's a lot of people. It's well organized, but it's a ton of people. So don't like plan to like do 30 minutes at the expo and then go do something right after. Like you want to just have that be your thing. And you should probably eat something before. I think they were selling the giant pretzels that are kind of everywhere in Germany. So I had one of those at the expo because I was hungry. But yeah, you want to just plan on that kind of being your activity for the day. And again, I did this in 2022, so it could have changed since then, but I think how it's changed by that much.
One
Um,
question I
yeah,
have,
for sure.
because I don't think this is the case. I mean, I've done Boston and Chicago, and I don't think this was the case at either of those two world major marathons, but I've heard about the Berlin Blue Line. So it
Mhm.
is the tangent line that if you essentially run that line, you're not going to be running, a mile extra or 2 miles extra. Like it's going to be the shortest distance from point A to point B, from the start line to the finish line. How aware were you of like the blue line when you were racing it?
Yeah, I was really aware of it. And so that was my tip also in the 101, which I like. I think they might do it in all the majors, but I don't have any memory of it in Chicago, and I did Chicago twice. And I think New York does a yellow line, and I did New York in 2023. So I think in Germany, it's pretty well, okay. So I was also like kind of in the back this race. So all that to say, I feel like I had easy access to that line. Whereas, I mean, depending on where you are in the pack, and things spread out over the course of 26.2 miles. But generally it's obvious. It's not like it's hard to find. I mean, it's yeah, so depending on, I mean, I guess it's a nice, because so much happens in the course of the many hours that you're running. It's kind of nice to just have something to focus on that's not like, your struggle if you're struggling. But um yeah, it's obvious if you're looking for it, but I don't think that it's not gonna like make a difference if you're going for a PR and there's a moment where you can't access it because there's so many people. I do remember, as with most marathons, the first like 8 or so miles are pretty a lot of people. And in fact, I actually ran into somebody I knew from Seattle. I live in Seattle, and one of my like running acquaintances from Seattle, I ran into her in the first mile. And we actually were able to run together for the first 8 miles. And I know that at that aid station I lost her, but it was probably for the better anyway, because we weren't really running the same pace. But I have this vivid memory of like it being really busy at that 8 mile, aid station, and it probably continued to be busy for a while, but eventually it, kind of it kind of thins out. But with any major, at least the four I've done, it's like constant, it's a lot of people, which is good. And the spectators are awesome. And yeah,
Actually, on that question,
yeah.
Suzanne posted in the chat, is there any part of the course that was low energy or not great scenery, vibes, anything like that?
If so, for me at least, it wasn't memorable. Meaning it was probably pretty quick, because you have to remember, since this is a loop, it's yeah, I think I don't, nothing comes to mind. And in other races I've done, there are very distinct miles that I remember being quiet or not, it's hard for spectators to get to. But yeah, I mean, it's really great. I know in the last mile, for sure the last mile, if not a little bit more, you're just in like this chute that goes straight, and there's spectators on both sides, just like, you feel like it's the last mile, and you're not gonna you're not gonna like
So even if you're hurting, like the crowd's gonna bring you home in that final stretch.
Oh,
As
totally.
long as you don't stop after the gate or at the gate.
Well, yeah, you won't be able to stop at the gate. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, you wanna, so maybe at mile 24, like start collecting yourself. But yeah, it's yeah, I don't remember any moments where it was like low energy. Yeah, not saying there won't be, but I feel like I would remember that. I feel like,
Nothing that stood out. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
Can I ask a few questions?
sure, yeah.
Of course you
Hi,
can.
I'm Marianne.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. My coach is Team RunRun. She joined the platform, I guess, a few years back, but I haven't really done anything. I don't think any of my races have been posted in like the newsletter or anything. It's just that my coach is on the platform, so I'm glad to be participating and like getting some benefit out of the Team
Yeah, tell
RunRun.
her if you want to be if you want to be in the newsletter, tell her.
Probably just she
always
and I would
ask
look at
her.
it.
Yeah, or you may have like accidentally checked when you signed up, like that you didn't want to like
Be featured on like social media.
Opt out could be.
So I always check with my people, because I think most people just check that by default, and then they like get really sad.
No, and I was sad to see the feed discount go away, but or the credit or whatever. But I'm sure there's other perks that maybe I'm missing out on. I don't know. But so this is my first time doing Berlin. It is my 6th marathon, and I'm trying to get all 6 stars. I'm not getting the 7th. Sydney's gonna have to wait for someone. I'm not motivated yet for that. But I had some
I think you
logistical
still get,
questions.
yeah, you still get the 6, even if you
Yeah,
don't do Sydney.
yeah, that's why I still say 6. And some people be like, well, there's a 7th. And I'm like, I know, but I'm ignoring Sydney for my purposes. Um, I have like logistical questions, and maybe you don't know, especially if you did it in 2022. I actually have friends that had done it more recently, including last year. They're not in Team Run Run, but they said the expo last year was a real mess. And this year we have a new location for the expo, so that hopefully it'll
Oh,
go a little smoother, is what I was told by my friend
no, I
Meredith.
didn't know that.
Yeah, and I know that we can get around. I still haven't gotten, I did get my bib number from the race, but I haven't gotten the pass. It says like a week before we'll get the pass for the metro or for the subway, and we're going to be able to get around, I guess, the whole time, which is nice because usually I haven't figured it out yet, but from the airport I think I'm going to take public transportation in, so if I can take it with the metro, then that'd be nice.
Are
um
you doing this with a tour group?
no, I'm doing it on my own. I have a charity that I'm running. I ran for this charity in London, and they happen to have a Berlin spot too. So I'm running for Get Kids Going, but I'm staying at a friend's place. She has a flat like outside of Berlin, about 3 miles from the start from the gate. So I'm staying there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't remember getting any sort of metro pass. I know it's not called metro there, but whatever their public transportation train is.
Oh, I'm looking just at the email that the race itself sent. You'll get an
Yeah,
email
we
from
could just want it.
SCC events.
Okay.
Yeah, it says free public transportation ticket. About a week before the start of the expo, we'll email you your free 4-day ticket for public transportation zones ABC.
That's
That's
awesome.
nice.
And then I think they were saying it was 10 days before the race that we'll find out our corral. So we got another 3 days for that, if I recall.
Okay, awesome. That was going to be one of my questions. You think they'll email, or you think that'll be in the login? Because right now when I log in, it only gives me my bib number. It doesn't give me my corral.
I never got an email for my bib. So I was told by a friend that's also running it that, hey, the bib numbers are up. So I had to go to my login
Okay.
to see it. And I'm guessing that the corral assignment's going to be the same.
Okay, cool. And then I do want to definitely get the finisher jacket, but I heard the sizing can be wonky. So I'm like reluctant to pay for it online already because my friend is like, if the expo's crazy, like you may just want to go to one of the Adidas like other stores, flagship stores, and just get it there. It won't only be at the expo. And I'm getting there a little early. I'm getting there Wednesday evening or Wednesday after late afternoon, like 4 o'clock. So I'm hoping that I can still make it to the expo Thursday, the first day, but if not, definitely like Friday morning. I don't know if anyone has suggestions on like the sizing on the jacket or whether to pre-purchase it or buy it after or
Yeah,
anything.
I can give you some suggestions on that. I thought so for the jacket, I bought a jacket. It didn't say finisher on it, but I bought one when I was at the expo, and I really like it. Actually, grab it and model. In fact, yeah, I'll model it for you guys in a second. But it's Adidas. I got a medium. I'm 5'6" and I don't know, 150 pounds. Um, I feel like with marathons and with athletic events in general, I've found that like anything you can pre-purchase online, you'll be able to buy there. Of course, it's a matter of them having your size when you get there, but something like that, I would just recommend planning to buy it there because then you can try stuff on.
Okay.
Because this isn't like a dress or anything, so it's like it's only gonna fit you. So like, it's gonna be a small, medium, or large, or an extra small or an extra large. So I would just I don't think there's anything truly that's like exclusive to like you have to pre-order it, even if something says you have to. Like they're gonna have it there, and then if not, Adidas is a big brand, and Berlin's a big city. I mean, they have like there's probably like Adidas stores everywhere that are going to be selling like race gear.
Yeah,
I'm
last year in
also
Chicago, my friends got it at the Nike store after the race.
Yeah. So I would say I wouldn't worry. I don't remember people complaining about size in the year I ran it. And
I was just going to say too, like Berlin's an Adidas race and Boston is Adidas as well, right? So you would think that there would be consistent sizing between those two races because it's the same brand versus Chicago is a different brand. I don't know.
I think it's maybe like the different country thing. I don't know. I would imagine Tokyo is like,
I think so too, because I met someone who works for Norcane that happens to be like the official timekeeper of Berlin, and he's kind of like unofficially putting me on their team. I think they just want some marketing content. I don't know what I'm getting out of it other than brunch because I already had a bib, but they also ran New York, so I'm hoping to hit them up for a New York City one for next year. But anyway,
Hey,
they
I
asked
got
me
an
for my
extra.
European
a lot.
sizing. So I was
Yeah,
like,
there's
oh,
a
there's
ton of-
European sizing. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you'll be able to try stuff on. There's like, you know, there's like makeshift dressing rooms with like curtains, and there's tons of them. You probably won't even really have to wait in line. And then of course the jackets, you don't even need to go into the dressing room for that.
True. Okay.
Sorry, I was talking over someone. I think
No, yeah, John, what are you saying something?
I was joking that it's like if your friend has another bib for New York, by all means, let us know.
I'll if I can secure one, I'll definitely report back. I guess it's a family-owned Swiss watchmaker, and they're the official timekeeper, though I had never heard of them. And it's like a family run, so like the guys like to run it, and so they have their own team. But the last year I think they only had like 5 or 6. But I'll definitely let you guys know if I get a bib for them for New York and if they have another. What about the time slot? Like I'm seeing that I'm supposed to register for a time slot to pick up my bib. Did anyone do that, or you're just gonna wing it?
I registered for a time. That being said, I'm now arriving a little bit earlier than I anticipated, so I might try and change that to be a day earlier. I also don't know that my interpretation of it is that it's not black and white. It's like they want to have an idea of like, hey, we expect you to come then, but like I don't think you're going to get turned away if you come in outside of that time slot. Like I think it's so they
Okay.
can traffic control. Like that's how I would interpret it.
Okay.
They have
Rightfully.
done that for a lot of the majors. I think they did it for New York and Boston the couple times I've run those, and they don't even check. I show up at my window, but nobody's there to like check and make sure that you're signed up for that window. So you should be fine. Like as long as I would say make sure you pick a time that you could make it for, but if you aren't within that window, you're probably still fine.
Yeah, I
Okay,
would
yeah,
make an effort to be there. You're not going to be turned away, but I think, you know, a lot of people either they're, you know, some people their flights get changed, or like some people, like I know I went with 2 friends, and I strongly doubt we all had the same, you know, time. But you know, I would make an effort just to make it easier for the folks working.
Okay. Yeah, I just don't know. I know my flight gets in at 4, but by the time I go to my friend's
Yeah.
place, drop off my stuff, I'm coming with my dog too, so I have to drop off my dog there and then go over. He's
Yeah, I mean, don't
So-
hurt yourself. But
Yeah,
I
so I'm
mean,
thinking
it's more
Friday
just
is
like,
probably
make
more.
some effort. But
But like if I
you
have
can't,
Friday morning and I can make it there by Thursday, I don't think they'll turn me away because my appointment's the next day, I would think.
no,
If-
they can't do that. Absolutely not.
Especially if I'm coming earlier, they probably want to get as many people done, I
Yeah.
assume.
No, you're not going to be turned away from it for any reason.
And I think Elaine, you were asking about the blue line. They had it in London. I don't remember now. I guess they didn't have it in Chicago. I don't remember.
I've never
Um,
raced, so I wasn't sure. But
London definitely had it, and I had to track that because that's been an issue for me in not running the tangents and running a lot of extra distance. So obviously that waters down your time. So I did.
This year, the blue line disappeared after the first 5K, which was a bummer because I was really relying on it. I really wanted it, and it just kind of went away until I think the last quarter mile it showed back up. So it was just kind of a mental trip up when it went away because I was really I was really like focused on being on the blue line, and then it just wasn't there. So I just ran my race after that. So just don't be shocked or disappointed if it disappears after a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy. If you're running it to try to get a PR in Boston, that's very ambitious. That's not the course to try to PR. That's congratulations to you. I just want.
Oh yeah, sorry. I see Leo has something in the chat about getting lost and being late for corral. I remember it being pretty easy to like navigate around. It is like a huge area, and so you may come in from one angle and see that your corral's way on the other side. So obviously, as with anything, get there early. And I do have a memory of kind of scrambling at the last second because I think I saw some porta potties and decided I wanted to go to the bathroom right before, which tends to be a good idea. Um, and it is with any major, it's like a huge area where the corrals are. So definitely, I think I ran into somebody as I was like walking to the start who knew. I mean, it's you aren't going to get lost. And again, you're going to see a lot of people, so you could just tag along with somebody. But
I'd say utilize the volunteers too. Like if you're not sure where is this wave, where is this corral, my experience at any world major is like there is a shit ton of volunteers, like an overload of volunteers. So just ask. But as Vivian said, like knowing that, you sometimes, or, at different races, you have either showed up late or got lost, like give yourself that extra time just to avoid some of that added stress, right?
yeah, and they also the volunteers there, I think they have flags on their name tags to show what language they speak. Um, Generally, most people in Berlin, well, I don't want to say most people, but in this environment speak English, but I recall like one or two people not really speaking English, so you may want to memorize a phrase or two. Not that that's going to help you when they answer the question, but yeah. So there are volunteers. I mean, it's allow for time to get there. I don't remember getting lost at all. It was more just like lines for the porta potty and stuff. And I see this note about the corrals not being well enforced. I mean, I think every marathon with that, every marathon is different every year because I'm sure that if they get a reputation for corrals not being enforced, then the next year they might lean into enforcing it. I think no matter what, I just try my best to follow the rules and, go to the one that I'm assigned to just because like the last thing you want to do is like get disqualified for something like that. The likelihood is extremely low, but like it's also like very within your control to like just do it right.
As
Oh,
you
I
say,
mean,
one
I
piece of advice.
expect to get a good corral. I'm more worried about like somebody that should be an F coming up to B or C, and
Uh,
then you have a hard
that's
time actually holding your pace for the first few
yeah.
miles.
Yeah, that's a valid concern. Yeah, which is tough. I mean, yeah, I guess if Coach Nicole kind of had that experience, then yeah, that's valid. Unfortunately, there's not much any of us could ever do about that if a ton of slow people are in front of us. Um, I personally, I mean, I was kind of toward the back this race, so I guess I don't remember that being a huge problem. Um, so I would just manifest positivity and manifest everybody going to their properly assigned corral.
Well, and I usually tell my athletes, like, even if there wasn't 1, 2, 10, however many people improperly corralled, that really is like a drop in the sea of runners, right? So in general, I tend to tell my athletes, like, the pace you run in the first mile of the race or 2 miles of the race is probably not going to make or break. If anything, it's the pace you're running at mile 22 or 20, you know what I mean? So it's like, I think at any big race, the first couple miles or first couple K can be a bit congested, even with people 100% properly seated. So just knowing that maybe your first couple K, you might be a few seconds off. Like I remember the first year I ran Boston, I didn't hit marathon pace until 4 or 5 kilometers into the race because it was so congested. And I was in corral A. You know what I mean? So I didn't let that freak me out too much. It's like, oh, well, if anything, like I'm conserving a little bit of energy right now. So I'm going to have a little bit more energy a little later into the race. So
Yeah.
I, try to frame it in a more positive mindset. Like shit happens and we can't control the uncontrollable. So if that happens, like just lean into your effort. And, it might not be ideal if you're running a few seconds under your goal marathon pace, but I think there will be probably ample time throughout the 26 miles to get some of that back when it does thin out a bit too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's something, and everything you just said, Elena, is something I've probably experienced in a lot of the marathons I've done. I think a lot of us just get in our head at the beginning because we have all this energy and we want to go like race pace. And yeah, it is what past coaches I've had have told me are, yeah, if the first 2 or 3 miles you're not able to go as fast as you want, like it's actually a good thing because you're kind of, again, you're forced to conserve energy, and then you'll certainly be able to make it up later. You'll have lots of opportunity, especially when you get into like the 20s and stuff. You'll have lots of opportunity to make it up. It's better to start slower. And you know, this is something that you guys will all face at some point in some marathon. And also unrelated, but I don't think this happened to me at Berlin, but it definitely happened at Chicago. Your watch also may not be accurate in the first couple miles, because I think this probably will change as we advance into the future with technology and everything. But like, there's so many people, I guess, and I don't know, so much
GPS jumping around a little bit, maybe.
yeah, that it won't be accurate till, you know. I don't think that happened to me at Berlin, but don't freak out if your watch doesn't seem accurate for the first couple miles.
Yeah, I already told my coach I'm printing my band, even though it's a pretty flat
yeah.
race, because of the first 2 miles, I know
great.
I'll be a little slower. And in Chicago, I was prepared the first 5 or 10K to not have GPS be accurate. It was not accurate anywhere in the race in Chicago for me at all. And I was working just off of my band, but it
Yeah,
worked.
those are great. Pace bands are really good.
Yeah, it was just the band. And actually in Chicago at the expo, they gave away, obviously you have to have like a certain number, right? Like I had an exact
Yeah.
time, like, you know, I was going for a specific time, not like, and then didn't end in 5 or 0. So, but they had the generic ones that they gave away as free tattoo bands. But I had a printable one that I just covered in tape.
Yep, I did that too.
It worked.
Yeah.
And the website to print it like got jammed up because I was going to print like an alternative one the night before the race. And it was like, I guess all the runners were in there and they like flooded the website. So print it in advance too, if you're going to print it, I guess is
Pacebands.com.
I think it's marathon. I was using marathonguide.com.
Okay.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but Berlin will be in kilometers, not miles,
Oh.
correct? For the course markers?
So
Only kilometers. That was emphasized.
oh,
I mean, I'm
Because
Canadian.
Paris
I love
did both.
I want to
But-
say London did both too.
Yeah,
Well,
when
but
did
it's on
it-
the metric system. So, I mean, it's not on the metric. So,
Even at the American races, like you often get the 5K mat,
Yeah.
the 10K mat, but you're not getting 1
Huh.
kilometer, 2 kilometer, 3 kilometers. So
I
I just wanted to flag that for any American runners, that don't be surprised if you see kilometer markers instead of mile markers.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I
if
don't.
you're ordering a band, make sure you order the pace band option in kilometers.
good.
So I didn't. I mean, they could have changed that. And again, you know, my memory might be foggy now. I don't. I mean, of course, and you know, they can change things year to year.
Mhm.
I don't remember it. I thought I have a memory of it being both in kilometers and miles. So maybe they just did away with the
It's
miles.
certainly like key markers, right? Like 21 kilometers, they're going to do like the 13th. They'll probably have a sign for 13
Yeah.
miles. and 1.5.
Yeah. Huh.
Just to flag
Okay,
that.
yeah, because I mean, yeah, you're Canadian, I'm American, so like still after running all these years, I still don't know. Well, especially when I'm running a marathon and my brain is oxygen deprived, I can't do the conversion. So that's a valid that is a valid concern. And okay, so maybe they emphasized it because they didn't. Maybe
And I just want to make sure we get through some of the
Okay.
questions in the chat. Coach Tavo says, how's the experience with the plastic pint cups being used as water cups at the aid stations? Do you have any recollection of that, Vivian?
Plastic pint cups. So
Like
they
instead
said
of
that they
paper
were,
cup,
yeah, how did they describe, or I guess is that how they described it?
Well, I mean, plastic cups. I've been watching some YouTubes and stuff, and what I saw on YouTube describes it as a complete disaster, would be the PC words. They used stronger words.
Yeah. I'm trying to Google it just now. So I know that in my opinion, I mean, I hate to talk about other stuff, but London, I did London this year and I thought it was a disaster because they use plastic water bottles.
Oh, I love that. I did London this year as well because you could just grab a
Oh.
bottle and never break your stride. It was amazing.
Yeah, so maybe because I was behind you, but there were tons on the ground that I felt like I was just like playing leapfrog the whole race, and like that wasn't really something I wanted to slip on because you know you would like twist your ankle, and I think they were just assuming people were going to be eco-conscious and reuse their same bottle, but all the people I was around at least were just like drinking, throwing them on the ground, drinking, throwing them on the ground. So that was pretty bad. I actually, for some reason, I just remember Berlin being Dixie cups and being a situation where you know people are like volunteers are sweeping them to the side.
They're plastic though, so they're almost impossible to like pinch and drink.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
So
that's
you
more
basically have to stop to drink.
yeah. So I guess so that sounds valid. So I guess you've just got to practice. I mean,
Get those
like,
red solos out.
yeah, I mean, you know, it's not going to be a big one like that, but I think, yeah,
in general, for
practicing
like
and
my,
then,
for my, oh, sorry, but in general for my like other athletes for other
oh,
races,
Tavo,
it does.
your sound is kind of like weird.
Oh, is it
I don't know if
Jake?
you can fix it. Oh, now you're on mute.
Oh, we might have lost him. Maybe he was gonna leave and like
Do I
rejoin
sound
the
better
call.
Uh, not
Any
much
better at all?
better. Not to me, but maybe I'll just.
I'll type it in, don't worry.
Go ahead, Tavo.
Are we back to live? Can you hear me at all?
We can hear you. It sounds like you're kind of far away almost from the microphone, but
We
It's
can
on
hear
the
you.
arrow pack, so that's probably why. But what I tell most of my athletes a lot of the time is it's better to just like walk for the water, like take the negative 4 seconds or the 4 seconds you're gonna lose just to drink it in, and to gain like the basically 90 seconds that you would gain just by getting that water. So I was expecting to do that with Berlin just because it is, you know, the plastic cup seems like a really bad idea. Like I don't understand why they're actually doing that. Compostable cups seem like the easy way to both for cleaning up and for the pincher grip, which I myself finally mastered after like almost 2 decades of running. but yeah, so that's why I asked that question.
I also recommend to most of my athletes to carry a handheld so that you don't have to deal with the water cups. But I have heard that, you know, because people are dropping their plastic cups, it's like a slipping hazard because it's also wet and plastic on the ground. So just like being aware when you're just past the aid stations to like look around on the ground and make sure you're not stepping and slipping on a bunch of cups.
Yeah, I was just looking at my pictures and I use a handheld water bottle. So
yeah, same. I just put in the chat the Hydra Pack Sky Flasks. They're like a collapsible handheld. So like as you drink more of it, it collapses in your hand. So you don't have this like bulky water bottle in your hand. They are so good. You can buy them off Amazon. You can buy them directly on the Hydra Pack website. I recommend these to all of my athletes, all of my friends and training partners. Yeah, they're fantastic.
I second that recommendation. I own it. I run with it, and they are the only handheld option. Here, I'll put a list from Amazon. I'll put a link from Amazon here in the thing. It's like not affiliated. It's just random shopper.
I know. They're just the best.
Yeah, they're
yeah,
seriously.
that's good to know. Yeah, yeah, let's just everybody plan to do that.
I don't do the
Although buy it
handheld.
from your local run retailer, not from Amazon. Sorry, I live in Seattle, so
No, that's valid.
They don't
We're allowed to hate
sell it
on
at my
Amazon.
local retailers. I have like Gazelle Sports and Hanson's from the Hanson's Distance Project. I have so many stores and they don't sell this.
Yeah.
So,
Do you have REI? In my mind, that's like a local business because again,
yeah, sort of. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't look there. I haven't gone down there for that one, but they might. So that's
Yeah,
the
that's
name
good to
of
know
it.
though. Sky Flask. Okay. Yeah.
I like the vest better. You couldn't use it in Chicago, the hydration vest, but I like to carry it on my back with the tube. So I like to have my hands free, completely.
Do they
Especially if
allow
I'm,
it for Berlin?
yeah,
'Cause
they
some
do.
races-
And
okay,
they allowed
some
it in
races do.
London. They allowed it. They're allowing it in Berlin. Chicago was the only one that didn't allow the one on the back. You had to do it with with a handheld. So I practice it with a handheld, but I train in Miami. So like, I don't know about the Hydra pack. I do use one of the Nathan bottles, but it has to be insulated because otherwise it's just super hot right away. We run in 76 dew point and 85% humidity here in a swamp, basically. So I need the
Yeah,
hydration, but I don't run with my vest, only the races.
I have that Nathan bottle too, and that'll be great. And I mean, you'll probably have some nice cool weather in Berlin, so don't have to worry about it boiling. But yeah, I
My
think
friend just ran Tokyo in March and she said you're not allowed to have any handheld, I think even, and they ran out of cups towards the end. People were using their
about
hands.
that.
That is bananas. And to think the Japanese, like I was very shocked by that.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, yeah, you sort of have to be ready for whatever with these races.
That's why I try to carry whatever I need. Like I
Yeah.
have my fuel, I have my hydration. I don't stop for anything other than if I need a potty, but even that's optional.
Yeah, and I mean, even though these are world majors and we're paying all this money, I'm pretty sure there's still just like volunteers that are doing this. So, like, I mean, I know that for me, for a lot of local races, that
Chicago at the expo had a fast track. Yeah,
Well,
I'm sorry, we're
oh,
talking over each other. Go ahead, Vivian. I'm sorry.
oh no, I was just gonna say, I mean, I know I can't say this has happened in a major, but like they've said there's going to be a aid station somewhere and it wasn't there just because the person who was going to volunteer just didn't show up that day. So I mean, these are real, these are real things that could happen. So just yeah, I think everyone should just commit to bringing their own, and obviously make sure that whatever type of vessel you're bringing is approved, because the last thing you want to do is have to sacrifice it.
Well, I can say Chicago. So it's a major. I ran it last year and the expo was a mess. I bought the fast track to like get into the corrals or at least the area sooner. And there was no one can tell me where I could pick it up. The volunteers didn't know. And I felt bad. They were just volunteering at the expo, but there was like no signage. I ended up having to go out through security and then back in to get it. And then I have a friend who went with someone who was volunteering in Chicago, and there was a medical emergency and they were completely uncoordinated there. Like they didn't have walkie talkies to call the person that had the little like truck to come and like take them off. So thankfully another runner was a doctor, a physician, and stopped and rendered aid because the volunteers that were right there next to the runner that dropped, like they didn't have a way of communicating with the person that had the aid truck. So anyway, it's just, so yeah, it's still a race and you're still depending on like humans, that don't do this every day. And it's tough. We just got to be prepared for everything, I guess.
Yep.
I just want to point out Caitlin's question in the chat. She said, I'm curious about any best practices for adjusting to the time change with nutrition, fueling, jet lag, etc. This is my first international marathon.
Yeah, that's an awesome question. It's always so funny traveling for a marathon because you're told like don't try anything new on race day, but like you obviously can't like bring your you can't like bring your food, you have to get food there. So I mean jet lag is tough. You're gonna be affected by it, depending on where you're coming in from, but assuming you're not in Europe, you'll probably be affected by it. So, I mean, I'm sure you all have bought your plane tickets by now, but I guess just do the best you can when you get there with respect to like giving yourself time. Like one objective thing I could say is don't try to do like tourist stuff before the race, which hopefully you aren't planning to do. I have a friend who made that mistake. So just try to like focus on obviously getting your bib and like the important stuff, and then just like resting as much as you can and not trying to zoom to get places by a certain time. So that's the best thing you can do for yourself with any marathon that you travel for.
I can share something helpful I did in preparation for Chicago in terms of like a carb load. So I think a lot of the time people think they need to carb load for like 5, 6, 7 days. And like, it's a bit overkill. I would say I carb loaded for 3 days, but really with high emphasis on the 2 days before the race. So on the Friday, yes, I'm eating my normal stuff, bagels, whatever, but then I actually took a bottle of Scratch high carb drink mix because like, at a certain point, it's like I can't eat any more solid carbs. So I would have like a bottle of Gatorade, which has a decent amount of carbs, and I had a bottle of high carb Scratch mix, which had 100 grams of carbs. And then on the Saturday, the day before Chicago, and I know this isn't like international in the sense that Berlin is, but like carb load was carb load. And I took 2 bottles of high carb Scratch drink mix. So I took one in the morning, the day before the race, and then I took one after dinner, like before bedtime, like 7:30 aches. You know, you go to bed pretty early the night before the race. So that way I just had like a little carb top up, like post dinner, but you know, now I'm going to be sleeping for 9 hours. So it was just a little bit of extra liquid carbs before bed. And that like really made a difference for me personally. And I've been doing that before some of my long runs in this build as well, like taking a bottle of high carb the night before, you know, I get up early for my long run too.
Yeah, that's great advice. Yeah, and I see Lindsay posted Megan Featherstone. She gives really, in my opinion, really great nutrition advice for traveling for marathons. So I recommend looking at her content too. And obviously, like, you're not gonna struggle finding like nutrition products and food that you're probably looking for, because Berlin is, again, a huge international city that has like, I mean, where I was staying, I could have been in New York. Like, it was just like there was an Apple store across the street, like Apple computer, and you know, it was like everything you would normally be used to, they probably have. And yeah, I went to some really good Italian restaurants. So yeah, as long as you're conscientious, you shouldn't struggle. And even with like the nutrition products that you buy from the running shoe store, you're not going to struggle to find those. So yeah, I think that it's a pretty friendly place to arrive at jet lagged. Um, yeah, so hopefully you shouldn't struggle too much.
That's
Is there any-
helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Does anyone else have any other burning questions that either I missed in the chat or we weren't able to cover?
Has anybody ever coached any of the faster athletes to this race? Like, I've never coached anybody for this race, period. But I'm the one actually running it. I'm shooting for like a 2:30, and I don't know how like the racing is like at the front. Because I'm shooting for like top 100, top 200 for the race altogether. Because for Boston, I found out I preferred Corral 2 over Corral 1. Corral 1 has to hold back for the elite or for like the professionals first, so we're just kind of all scrunched together. Whereas if you're in Corral 2 or Wave 1 Corral 2, you just get to sit down and have a good time. I don't know how the situation is at the front for Berlin, but and same thing with like carrying stuff. Like I know I think Chicago does like bottle service for anybody who wants to do it. I don't know if Berlin has anything similar or for the development program. But if anybody has any insight on those things, that'd be chill.
So the year I ran it, I have a friend who, she's a woman and she ran like a 240 something. And I should have talked to her before this. I'm gonna see her tomorrow, ironically. So I actually, to be honest, I could put you guys in touch with each other if you want. I know that I feel like she was in the first corral. And I mean, this doesn't really answer any of your questions, but I know she just had like a great time and she didn't have any sort of like complaints or anything, no fiascos at the front. Of course, you know, anything can happen, but were you just wondering, like, are there two things you're choosing between, or are you just kind of generally wondering about kind of what the scene is like up there?
And yeah, just kind of generally wondering what the scene's like up there, because Boston's a mess. But it's more just because of the professional athletes, you know, existing and taking priority, which is, you know, fine and cool. I just wanted to know what was happening at Berlin.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe there's a reason why we rarely hear like bad stuff about Berlin, other than these classic pint glasses. Yeah, I mean, I think that it's like, you know, I think I don't know, I don't want to shame my own country, but you know, there's this big sense of entitlement in the US, and it tends to be easier for Americans to get to American races. So you're just going to hear people complaining a lot. But I think, yeah, I mean, there's probably a lot you'll be able to learn from talking to folks at the expo, like the folks that are, I don't know, I'm sure I don't know if there's like panels.
I was just to say sometimes there are like pros that are racing it that like ask questions, or they have like, as you said, Vivian, little panels. That could be a question that you ask at the expo if there is like a little stage and talking section.
Yeah. And even if they're not like the elites, there's probably like some sort of presence of ambassador type people that are
Someone
sub-elite.
that have the intel.
Yeah.
That's
I
helpful.
mean, for what it's worth, I personally haven't heard any like horror stories out of, and you know, Kipchoge won it, so like couldn't have been too bad.
I know that they do allow bottles for anyone who wants to drop bottles, and then they have them. I assume that they do this. Was in that Featherstone Nutrition, like her race day nutrition stuff, because she did drop some bottles. So you can like have as many bottles as you want, and you can just like mark them for which of the different refreshment spots you want them to be available to you. So that is something that, as like, even if you're not in an elite wave, you can still have that as a benefit. And
That's
if you
fantastic.
want to have your own nutrition out there, that's a good way to do that.
I didn't know if anything other than Chicago did that, so that's fantastic to hear.
Yeah, I would take advantage of the opportunity, but still like mentally always kind of have a contingency plan for when someone steals your bottle or something.
I'm still planning on having like 6 or 7 gels on me regardless, just in case, but
Yeah. You guys gotta manifest positivity.
Yes. My general rule of thumb is like hope for the best, plan for the worst. Like I did the same thing in Chicago. I was hoping to get my second bottle at the halfway mark, but I had 3 gels on me that equated the exact amount of grams of carbs as would have been in that bottle should I didn't get it. So
Good idea.
hope for the best, plan for the worst.
Yep.
Any other last thoughts, comments, questions? I don't want to keep us here, much more than an hour. I feel like that's a good chunk of time. And I will make this recording. I'll send it to Ruby. She'll include it in our next newsletter so that anyone, if you have other athletes, friends, people that are racing Berlin and were unable to make the call in real time, we will have this link available once it gets sent to Matt's email address. We'll circulate it. But if they're Oh, I'm reading Lindsay's message from the website. If you wish, we can bring your own refreshments to the individual refreshment points. To do this, you must hand in your container, no glass, marked with your name, bib number, and desired aid station by 7:45 a.m. on Sunday at the latest. Wow, I'm surprised they do it on the day of the race. That's risky. That's good to know. Any other last questions, anyone?
It's kind of unrelated to Berlin, but since we'll be there, does anyone know any guesses on when Boston buffer time will be published, or when people start getting there? I'm thinking I may get it like right before Berlin. I missed it last year by 17 seconds. So
You're out.
I have a
We're
pretty,
out.
huh?
I missed last year by a minute 7. We're definitely still out. Everything
No,
I've heard
so
from
I
like
secured,
Joe and
yeah.
everything.
I have
They
an almost
said,
7-minute buffer on the new 5-minute, already the 5-minute baked in. So I think
I
I
thought
should.
you said 7 seconds.
No, I missed it by 17 seconds last year. It was like 6:51 was the buffer, and I had 6:34 buffer.
Nope.
So I missed it last year by 17
Yeah.
seconds, but then I got a new PR in Chicago and just submitted that today.
Well, they
Ah,
won't close the registration or like the application until
Friday.
Friday. So I wouldn't expect to know until you're already in Berlin. Oh, maybe no, end of this week.
No, for sure. Yeah, it closes at the end of this week, registration. So I'm not expecting to have anything before I fly, but I think maybe before the 21st. I mean, they tell you officially October. I'll look back and
Yeah,
see like how long it took them to tabulate last year, but I would think with the 5-minute reduction, maybe it'll be quicker. Although now they have the new thing with the downhill, so maybe the downhill
Doesn't
races.
apply for
It's
this
not gonna be
registration
quicker.
period.
Oh, it doesn't apply for this year?
Yeah.
Okay, so
They
maybe
apply
it'll
that
be
starting
quick.
next year.
I don't know. I'm trying to go for a PR in Berlin because it's a fast, flat course. But if I know I got into Boston, that'll help me a lot.
Then you'll be like, no need.
Just run it for fun.
Yeah, that's a super valid question, and that's stressful that so many people are in that situation. Like, you know, I mean, I know that there was only so much they don't have control over when they're going to be able to figure that out, but it's a bummer that anyone running Berlin kind of is in that boat. But I guess that's what keeps this sport fun and interesting and challenging.
Okay. So it's unrelated to Berlin, but sorry. Thanks for letting me ask it.
That's okay. I wanted to extend a very huge thanks to Vivian. You were our lone expert, and I'm so appreciative that you hopped on the call. Appreciate your time, expertise, and just sharing your experience. Thank you so much to everyone for joining.
Yeah, if anyone wants to email me,
if you want to drop your email in the chat,
drop me email. I mean, as you found, I'm only so helpful, but
no, we appreciate
also Coach Tavo, I will talk to my friend tomorrow when I see her and see what kind of front of the pack elite advice she has. Sorry, I should have gotten that before, but here we are.
Amazing.
Yeah. But I also just want to wish you guys a great time. I will say I had a phenomenal time there. Berlin's like the coolest city, so much just good food and just really cool people, international people from all around the world. And go see the Berlin Wall. It's now like an art installation and you can like have a picnic in front of it. It's feels weird saying it, but it's really fun. So just have a great time, run your best, in kind of unleash your inner Kipchoge. And the many people I know who've done it have had a great time. I know you guys will too, and just make sure you have fun.
Yeah. See you guys at the end of 26.2.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.